Sales and Sales Returns Daybook or Journal, Edexcel IGCSE Accounting. Specification content, books of original entry. Part B, prepare the following books of original entry, such as Sales Daybook and Sales Returns Daybook. Learning objective: to construct Sales and Sales Returns Daybook and post entries to the ledgers. Key vocabularies: sales, cash, bank, trade receivables, credit, debit, sales returns, ledgers, sales or receivables ledgers, general or nominal ledgers. Also, discount allowed, payments received from trade receivables. You can print this format in order to complete today's questions. Take few minutes to identify the double entry for credit sales, sales returns, payment received from trade receivables with discount allowed. Now, let's identify the double entry. Sales by check, cash debit, sales credit. Sales by cash, cash debit, sales credit. Sales by check, bank debit, sales credit. Sales on credit, trade receivable debit, sales credit. Sales returns debit, trade receivables credit. Payment by trade receivables, cash or bank debit, discount allowed debit, and credit trade receivables. There are three types of ledgers: sales or receivables ledger. You include all the trade receivable accounts there. Purchasers and payables ledger. You include all the trade payable accounts. General or nominal ledger. You include all the ledgers except TR and TP, trade receivables and trade payables. This is the format of a sales daybook or a journal, which includes details about trade receivables, any trade discounts offered. Whereas in sales returns daybook or journal, also you find trade receivable details and the trade discounts provided for them. In today's lesson, you will be given a set of transactions. You post entries to sales and sales returns daybook. Followed by that, you post entries to the ledgers under receivables ledger, and then transfer entries to the nominal or general ledger. Followed by that, you balance off the ledgers, and then you transfer the entries to the trial balance. Finally, you have a challenge activity, followed by that a past paper question related to today's chapter. 1/120 sold goods to Martin on credit 1,000, subject to 20% trade discount. How do we show this entry? In the sales day book, enter the date, trade receivables Martin, amount 1,000. Now you calculate 20% of 1,000, which should give 200. Therefore, the net value should be 800. Fifth, sold goods 500 on credit to Rafa, subject to trade discount of 10%. Enter the date, trade receivables Rafa, amount 500, trade discount 10%. So 10% of 500 should be 50. Therefore, the net value 450. Now, end of the month, 31st Jan 20, balance of the sales day book or journal, transfer to general ledger, total up the amount 800 plus 450, which should give 1,250. Now, remember, in order to prepare sales returns daybook or journal, you should apply the same trade discount amount during sales. Means credit sales. As you can see here, 6th, goods returned by Martin on 6th. Enter this in the sales returns daybook. Trade receivables Martin, amount. We offered 20% trade discount before. Apply the same. Trade discount 20% should give 160. Therefore, the net value should be 640. 10/120 goods returned by Rafa. Trade receivable Rafa, returned amount 300, adjust for trade discount because we offered 10% during credit sales of trade discount, the same applicable over here. It's 30, therefore 270 should be the net value. Now end of the month, 31st Jan 20, transfer to general ledger. Total up the amount 640 plus 270, which should give 910. Now, with this information available, now let's transfer the entries to the trade receivable ledgers and the general or nominal ledger. So the double entry for credit sales, it's what is applicable while transferring entries from sales day book. So you debit the trade receivable accounts and you credit the sales account. Enter the date 1/1/20. Credit sales worth 800 for Martin. Therefore, you enter in Martin's account. And then on 5th, there is another credit sale to Rafa. Debit in Rafa's account 5/1/20, sales 450. Now, take the total amount 1,250 from the sales day book, transfer it to sales account under general or nominal ledger. This should be as at 31st of Jan 20. Opposite accounts name, both of them are trade receivables, total amount 1,250. Now, let's transfer entries from sales returns day book or journal. The double entry for sales returns should be sales returns debit and trade receivables credit. As you can see here, Martin 640 is the sales returns amount, credited in Martin's account 6/1/20. And then on 10/1/20 to Rafa 300, go to Rafa's account on the credit side, enter the date, opposite accounts name, sales returns, enter the amount. Now you have the total amount of sales returns 910. This should be transferred to sales returns account under general or nominal ledger, 31st of Jan 20, trade receivables 910. Now we had posted the entries to relevant ledgers. Now let's balance off trade receivable ledgers such as Martin and Rafa. As you can see here, Martin has a debit greater value, bring it down to the total. 800 take away 640 should give 160. 31st 120 balance carried down. And then to the opposite side, it should be 1/2/20. Sorry for that error. Okay, now it's corrected. 1/1/20 balance brought down should be. Now let's balance off TR Rafa account. As you can see, debit side is greater. Therefore, bring it to the total 450 450. Difference 450 take away 270 should give 180. 31st 120 balance carried down. Opposite side as 1/2/20 balance brought down 180. Now let's balance off the accounts which is listed under general or nominal ledger. Let's balance the sales account. Credit side is greater, bring it to the total. The difference should be the same. 31st 120 balance carried down 1,250. Then 1/2/20 balance brought down on the credit side 1,250. Now let's balance off the sales returns. First of all, you bring it to the total. Bring it to the total. Now you can see that the balance carried down amount should appear on the credit side. 31st 120 balance carried down. Bring it to the opposite side. 1st of Feb 20 balance brought down 920. Now we had balanced all the ledgers under receivables and general or nominal. Now let's transfer the entries to the trial balance. As you can see, TR Martin has a debit balance, therefore you enter it on the debit side of the trial balance. TR Rafa has a debit balance again, a balance brought down value of 180. It should be brought down, sorry for that error again. Okay, let's redo that section. So now let's transfer the trade receivable Martin's balance on the debit side to the trial balance. TR Rafa has a debit balance of 180. Sales account has a credit value of 1,250, enter it on the credit side of the trial balance. And sales returns has a debit balance of 920. Now, as you can see here, if you total up the debit and the credit side, it should give the same amount. That means we have done all the entries correctly and balanced off the ledgers correctly. Now let's challenge. What do we do after balancing the ledgers? Let's have a challenging task. As you can see here, let's assume that TR Martin, you made a sale for 800 and sales return 640. On 29th of Jan 20, trade a receivable, or let's make it. Now let's complete a challenge task. On 29th, TR Martin paid amount owed after a cash discount of 10%. And on 31st of Jan 20, Rafa paid the amount due after 5% cash discount. Can you identify the type of discount here? So as you can see here, it's a cash discount. Since it's given to the trade receivables, we consider it as discount allowed. What would be the double entry for the transaction occurred on 29th? As you can see here, you observe TR Martin's account, 800 sales, 640 is the sales return. Therefore, the difference between these two figures, 160. For this amount owing 160, you're giving a 10%, you're allowing a discount of 10%. Therefore, how much do you think TR Martin will pay you? So as you can see here, we'll assume on 29th, maybe the payment was by check. In that case, you write bank 160 minus the discount of 16, 144, and then you enter the amount. So bank 144 and discount allowed 16 on the credit side for TR Martin. Now let's do it for Rafa. Rafa owed you 450 because you made a credit sale, and then there's a sales return of 270. So as you can see here, it's 180 is the due of Rafa's. So you provide 5% discount allowed, which gives you 9. So 180 take away 9 should give 171. As you can see here, we had prepared the sales day book, sales returns day book, followed by transferring entries to the ledgers. We balanced off the ledgers and we prepared a trial balance. And you had a challenge task as well today to complete. Now, we should be able to do a past paper question. This was tested on 2023 May-June, paper 1. Kirk maintains a full set of accounting books and offers credit customers a 5% trade discount on orders over $1,000. During Jan 2023, the following transactions took place between Kirk and Bella. Jan 2023 transactions are given. In order to complete this question, you should have the prior knowledge of the double entries. Credit sales, debit trade receivable credit sales, sales returns, debit sales returns and credit trade receivables, payments from trade receivables, debit cash or bank, debit discount allowed and credit trade receivables. Right. In order to complete this question, first you should be able to state 2 reasons for offering trade discount. So one of the reasons is to encourage bulk buying, to reward loyalty, or to gain new customers. You can write one of those or any other appropriate responses. State 2 reasons why a credit customer's account may have a credit balance. Maybe because they had returned some of the goods after payment. Maybe they had made an overpayment, or they had made a payment in advance. Due to these reasons, a trade receivable balance can have a credit balance. Now let's complete the transactions in order to complete Bella's account. So who is Bella as per this question? So Kirk is a person who owns the business. So as per the transactions that we can see here, it talks about sold, return goods against sold goods. That means Bella is a trade receivable. So it's really important to have an understanding, is this person a trade receivable or trade payable based on the transactions given. Jan 2023. On 2nd, check received 3,500 in full settlement of the account on 1st Jan 2023 of 3,720. So first step, you're supposed to enter Jan 1st, balance brought down, value should be 3,720. And then check received for 3,500 in full settlement of the account of the balance on 1st Jan 2023. So at the beginning of this month, you can see there is a due of 3,720 and a full settlement of check is received. So you write bank, cash or bank 3,500. Now once you're done with that, let's move to the second one, which is, so as you can see here, there is also a discount allowed amount. So how did we identify that? The total due amount is 3,720. However, you received a check for 3,500. So the remaining 220 should be considered as discount allowed. Right. 9th, sold goods, list price 880. Therefore, the double entry for credit sales, trade receivables, debit, sales, credit. Therefore, you enter it on the debit side of Bella's account because Bella is the trade receivable. So you write sales or sales day book 880. Returned goods sold on 9th Jan 2023 170. So out of the amount 880, 170 worth of goods are returned back. Therefore, what do you do here? So you enter it on the credit side of Bella's account, 17 sales returns amount 170. 28th, sold goods list price 1,300. Therefore, how do you account for this? As you can see here, remember, they clearly mentioned that there is 5% trade discount over any amount of sales of 1,000 and above. So here you're selling goods worth 1,300. Therefore, 1,300, calculate 5% trade discount and then deduct that amount in order to get 1,235. Now it's time to balance the ledger. As you can see here, debit side 3,720, 880, 1,235. On the credit side 3,500, 220 and then 170. So debit side is greater, bring it to the total. Then from 5,835, deduct the amounts 3,500, 220 and 170. You should get balance carried down on 31st, 1945. Bring it to the opposite side, 1st of Feb, balance brought down 1945. So this was a past paper question which was tested on 2023 May-June paper 1.